Welcome back to International Star Media, the Gold Star Standard, at the Gold Star Standard. Reactions, reviews, and news you can use. Once again, I am your host, International Yada, for the records and the dollars. And hey, check this out. Take heed, because they'll throw you away. They will throw you away. Human trafficking / sex trafficking charges are serious business. You do not want to get caught up in this. Everything is not for everybody. You should find yourself something legal to do. As you can see from the thumbnail, prosecutors recharge man after the judge dismisses the case. They recharge him the same day after the judge dismissed the case. Let's get straight off into this. Check this out. Rodney Holland. Right here. Rodney Holland. Let's see what they said about him. Southfield, Michigan. The same day a Southfield judge dropped charges against the man accused of human trafficking, the Oakland County Prosecutor's Office moved to refile the case. The same day that the charges were dropped on this man, the prosecutors moved to refile the charges. Wow. And he was rearrested for the alleged crimes. Let's continue. Rodney Holland, 29, was charged Monday with transporting a female for prostitution, accepting prostitution earnings, human trafficking enterprise, resulting in injury or commercial sex activity.
Oh my God.
And human trafficking, forced labor, the same charges that were dropped earlier in the day. 29 years old. The judge dropped the charges and the prosecutors refiled the charges the same day. Take heed, pay attention, find something legal to do. Everything is not for everybody, and they will throw you away if found guilty of any of these. Let's continue. The backstory. Holland of Ferndale was accused of trafficking a 49-year-old Flint woman out of Marvin's Garden Inn and Red Oak Inn, both motels on Northwestern Highway in Southfield. In the Detroit area is what they're talking about. Let's continue. Southfield Police Chief Elvin Barron said Holland used social media for commercial advertisement, with evidence pointing to other victims of the suspects. Those victims are from Detroit, Michigan, Grand Rapids, Michigan, Ohio, Kentucky, and Indiana. It is unclear if he was working with more suspects or how large his operation was. In early March, the victim from Flint was able to get help when she told a clerk at the Red Oak Inn that she was scared of her boyfriend. So the accused victim, the one that didn't show up to court while his charges were dismissed, told the clerk that she was scared of her boyfriend. This is where all these charges came from. She said she was scared of her boyfriend. The clerk called police and Holland was arrested a few days later. Dig deeper. After his arrest, Holland was charged with several prostitution-related crimes. However, the victim in the case failed to show up for 2 scheduled preliminary examinations for Holland and stopped communication with prosecutors, so the case was dismissed Monday. On 2 different occasions, the so-called victim failed to show up in court.
What?
That's very interesting. It was her choice not to show up to court twice. He was in custody. It was her choice, and she didn't show up twice to the court date. That's very interesting that he was recharged. But let's continue. Later that day, prosecutors moved to refile the case without the victim in hopes that the case would proceed while they worked to get back in contact with her. Holland was arraigned of the new charges Tuesday morning. Like I say, that's very interesting. So y'all see what's going down. He was charged. The charges were dismissed, refiled the same day without the victim, without the so-called victim refiling the charges. Without a new complaint from the so-called victim, the charges were dismissed and refiled. Pay attention to what's going on. Once again, everything is not for everybody. Find something legal to do. You don't want to get caught up in a situation like this. We got a news story on this too. Bear with me for a second. Here we go. Let's check this out.
Charges dismissed against a man suspected of human trafficking after the alleged victim failed to show up in court.
Survivors say they understand the fear and the trauma that comes with confronting an abuser. But as Fox News' Amy Lang tells us, there is help.
When we take these types of people off the street, it makes an impact. How many more victims were potentially going to fall prey to this individual?
Now his charges was dismissed. It was so-called one victim, and all charges were dismissed and refiled. Pay attention to what's going on here. Pay attention to the news story, because it seems to me that they are trying to influence public opinion. And you will see why I say that in a minute. Let's go.
That was Southfield Police Chief Alvin Barron back in March after the arrest of Rodney Holland, the 29-year-old from Ferndale accused of human trafficking, holding a woman captive, subjecting her to prostitution, even threatening to kill her.
She has continued to not respond to any communication, so she is not present today.
Therefore, the court will dismiss this matter today.
On Monday, the human trafficking case against Holland was dismissed when the victim failed to show up to testify for a second time.
For a second time, the so-called victim failed to show up. Interesting. Remember, they said earlier she contacted a clerk in the hotel and said she was afraid of her boyfriend. I suggest if you're in this situation and you're afraid for your life, that you get out of a situation like that. You get further away from the person that you claim to be scared of. That's just my suggestion. Let's continue.
And to be, face to face with them, I think would be very difficult. I think fear's huge.
Elise is a survivor of human trafficking. We spoke with her and 2 other survivors.
Now, this woman they're speaking to and the two others that they speak of that will also have something to say have nothing to do with this man's case. I don't know if he is guilty or not guilty. But like I said earlier, I do believe that they use these people to sway public opinion, to influence public opinion. They have nothing to do with his case, but they added it to the news story about this case. Pay attention. You don't want to get caught up in this. Y'all see the Diddy trial that's going on right now. Force, fraud, coercion, violence, and or threats of violence. If found guilty, they'll throw you away. Take heed, pay attention, or not. Let's go.
To understand what they've been through, why it's so hard to testify.
My mother was a drug addict and prostitute, and when she didn't have actual money, she would drug me so I wouldn't fight back towards her pedophile drug dealers, and that was my life until I was 12 years old.
Fear, trauma, addiction, and violence.
Now, that's a horrible story that woman told about her mother and her mother's pedophile boyfriend, but that had nothing to do with Rodney Holland in his case, and how his case was dismissed by a judge and refiled the same day by prosecutors. It has nothing to do with that. And this is why I say they added this story to his story to influence public opinion. It's not a game or a joke. They will throw you away and or attempt to throw you away. Don't play these kind of games. Find something legal to do. Hey, find something legal to do. Everything is not for everybody.
There was also so many seeds of terror planted by my mother and all of my abusers. You know, we're going to kill you if you talk, or we're going to hurt you.
I've been violated in more ways than one, sexually, financially. I tried to leave my trafficker several times, which led to 7 broken bones in my face, an orbital fracture.
All of it can keep human trafficking victims from coming forward.
Mental manipulation, emotional manipulation, physical abuse or captivity.
Erica Watkins is with Sanctum House, a sanctuary, a safe house, a 2-year program for survivors of human trafficking, helping them heal from their trauma.
Our goal for them, it has to be their goal, that they become independent, self-sufficient women. And when we see that happening, it's just heartwarming.
It's a journey survivors here want others to know about.
And that's what I want to say to survivors, that people are there to help.
We'll put more information on Sanctum House on our website. As for Holland, prosecutors refiled their case against him while they try to contact the alleged victim.
Well, you heard it right there. Filed and refiled the same day. And like I said, that story was interjected into his story to influence the public. Once again, these are alleged charges, serious alleged charges. We don't know if the man is guilty or not, but you don't want to get caught up in something like this. You do not want these charges. You don't want to be sitting up in the courtroom fighting for your life because you're being charged with human trafficking / trafficking, force, fraud, coercion, violence, and or the threats of violence. We're just bringing it to you. International Star Media, the Gold Star Standard, at the Gold Star Standard. Reactions, reviews, and news you can use. Once again, I am your host, International Yada, for the records and the dollars. And hey, don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, share. And I appreciate all the people that have already. And we will see you on the next one. And don't forget to follow us on Instagram at The Gold Star Standard.